All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin, and look at the panel. I love these people. Honestly, I've got RJ back, Kishan back. Kishan's been an absolute hit. So has RJ. I've got a newbie, Harry. Harry, I'll start with you first of all. Liverpool fan. It's good to have someone of a different fan base. Gives us a bit more perspective. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Obviously, we've been struggling recently, but it's good to freshen it up with a team that's doing well in Chelsea.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about Liverpool a lot deeper. Thank you to everyone that's joined, and thank you to everyone that will join throughout the stream and will watch it down the track. Honestly, I do appreciate your support a lot. Bad meets evil. What's up, Miz? How you doing? Yes, I am recovering. I did have that throat surgery not that long ago, but I am recovering slowly but surely. Let's get straight into it. We want to talk about the top four race. Obviously, all the weekend matches, bar the one match, which is the Manchester City versus Southampton, that's still remaining in this particular match week. But look, I'm pretty sure Manchester City should take the victory over there. And even if they do, they're so far in front, they're going to win the league. So we're not even going to talk about Manchester City in this show because there's absolutely no point. We will talk about the top four race, guys. Let's bring out the table. Let's see what the situation is like at the moment. As you can see, Manchester City way in front with 65 points. I think they've won the league. I mean, they've probably won the league probably 2-3 weeks ago. So there's no one out there that's actually going to cover those points. We're going to try and have a conversation with the panel today and really work out things, about the rest of the top four. So really, it's just the three more positions. 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, it's very tightly bunched. West Ham's just around the corner. Everton's still not gone because they've got the game in hand. West Ham's got the game in hand. Tottenham's got the game in hand. Liverpool, we will talk about them. Are they finished? We'll get Harry's point of view. Aston Villa's got 2 games in hand, and I think we can safely say now. A few weeks ago, RJ and I, we had a show with Tom from Leicester, and we were sort of putting Arsenal in the mix of the top 4, but I think we can safely say that they're not in the conversation anymore. 38 points, and we're on 50. That's 12 points. I think that's way too much to cover. But first of all, Kishan as well. Just quick introduction. Kishan, my man, how's everything going?
Yeah, all good. I think we're the ones that are flying right now. But it's good to have a Liverpool fan on here so we can get some other perspective.
Absolutely. RJ, my man, good morning. 6:03 a.m. in Sydney. How's things?
Rise and shine. Yeah, very good. Obviously had a good run at the moment. So it's always much easier to do these things when your team's playing good football. So long may it continue.
Brilliant. Thank you to Data. Taryn, my man, thank you for joining. Your mate Harry is here. Extreme Season, thank you for joining. Kishan, I'll start with you first of all. Let's really dig deep and start dissecting some of these issues. Well, not really issues, analysis. Let's start with Man United. As you can see, 28 points, 28 matches, 54 points. Let's look at their upcoming fixtures. You do need to realize as well, Kishan, they're still in Europa League, so there is a bit of works in the spanner over there. How much that may affect them, we'll figure that out. Obviously, they had a very good victory against Man City. Against all odds, I really did not expect that. Really expected City to take that out. So that's an interesting victory for them. But the upcoming fixtures, they've got Milan, obviously Friday, that's for me, but that's really Thursday night. They've got West Ham at home, obviously Milan again in the Europa League. But in the Premier League, so they've got West Ham, Leicester, Brighton for the next 3 upcoming fixtures, and they've got the Milan fixture. I think they're going to be quite serious about that. Kishan, what's your thoughts about this Man United upcoming fixtures? Do they have the squad depth to have a real go at the Europa League as well? I'm pretty sure they're going to go for the Europa League. That's another way to get into the Champions League. But then they've got a really big clash against West Ham. They've got that clash against Brighton and the Leicester one. Let's just quickly have a look. Leicester one's actually a FA Cup quarterfinal. So what's your thoughts? How do you think they're going to go?
I think they'll get through that period quite well. The AC Milan game is interesting, but it's not really relevant for what they're going to do in the league. In terms of maybe they might rest Fernandes against a West Ham or something like that. But again, I feel as though the game against West Ham is a kind of win-win for us, no matter whatever the scenario is. Someone has to lose points. So I think we'll end up with a scenario where maybe we might want United to beat all of our rivals, but I don't think we're at that point because I don't see second as unachievable for us. So I'd like United to get dragged into that race and then hopefully put them in that dogfight for top 4 as well. And then hopefully we could climb over them, especially with the fixtures that we've got coming up and what they've got. I think they'll still be comfortable against West Ham and Brighton, but maybe onwards of that, they might lose a few points.
Let's have a quick look at the onwards. It's interesting that you said that they may rest Bruno Fernandes for the West Ham. Like that's where you're thinking. I'm more thinking for the Premier League ones, really, can they rest one of their big players? After Brighton, they've actually got Tottenham, which is going to be another one of those games that you said, Kishan, that's a win-win for us. Whatever happens there works out for us. But yeah, Kishan, you were going to say something?
There seems to be so many of those, and I think that's because of where we are. It's annoying that we have to look at games where Everton are playing and West Ham are playing and stuff like that. But there seems to be games like this every week where the result is going for us. And then when we're involved in games against Liverpool, Everton, we've been beating them kind of teams. So we've been winning the 6 pointers, which is good for us as well.
Ajay, just looking at this table, Man United on 54 points. I've always been a bit skeptic about the whole Man United situation. I feel like they're very inconsistent. You know, they've beaten City against all odds. Like they haven't even been playing that well to beat City, but they've beaten City. Looks like, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has probably found a way to counter Pep's sort of style. But I feel like with the fixtures that are coming up, I don't know. I just don't think Man United can be consistent enough. I feel like, as Kishan said, we can get them for the number 2 position. I feel like they're still suspect in this top 4 chase. How do you feel? Do you think they're set in stone that they're going to be one of the teams in the top 4?
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting because and how quickly do things change in football as a sort of a preamble, because only a couple of weeks ago I had them penciled in for a second place finish just because I thought, despite them not playing sensationally, I thought they were doing well just to grind out results. And I thought, apart from City, who are setting the benchmark, they were a team that were worthy of a top 4 finish and probably in that top 2 spot. But then they had those pretty underwhelming results. Like we had the 0-0 draw with them, which on the balance of play, we probably could have pinched the win. And then the next game, they had a bore draw. But then they go and pull that rabbit out of the hat with a 2-0 sort of very strong win against Man City, even though it was a very counter-attacking defensive style of play, but they got the job done. So, but then you look at their fixtures against West Ham, and then you've got Tottenham around the corner and a couple of tough Europa League games. And all of a sudden, the points difference between second place and 6th place is not as cushy as it seems. So I think someone said it in the chat that anything can happen in football, and I fully support that because I even have my friend who's a Manchester United fan, Rob, and, you know, he's a supporter of your channel, Miz, and even he will tell you he's a pretty honest United fan. He will be the first one to say nothing's secure here, and he's probably got his own doubts as to their top 4 destiny. So I agree with what you said, that they will be pushing hard for Europa League as another insurance policy because, yeah, they're not so rosy at the moment just because they're in second spot.
Yeah, I tend to believe that. I do not think they're absolutely secured. Let's do a quick round through this panel. Harry, your thoughts? Do you think Man United will be in the top 4? Just a quick yes or no answer.
Yeah, I think they're strong enough to finish in the top 4.
Kishan, you think as well they'll be in the top 4?
I think they're strong enough and they will be in there, but I just don't think place 2 is secured for them. They will be somewhere amongst that. Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be in the top 4. And RJ, you think they'll finish top 4 as well?
I do.
Okay, so we already know City's locked in, and we've just said all of us that Man United is probably going to be in top four. I personally think I'm a bit 50-50. I'm not really sure if they're going to be there. Really difficult because of their form is not consistent enough. I know Saeed Belkacem has said that they defend super good. They do. I'm not going to lie about that. But I just don't think they're consistent enough to pull off the big wins all the time. Let's now go to Harry. Harry, let's look at this Premier League table again. So we've covered off Man United. Let's look at Leicester now. Leicester, 28 matches, 53 points. Looking at their fixtures, obviously they had a very good win against Brighton coming from behind, when they were 1-0 down. Up next, they've got Sheffield United in the Premier League. In the FA Cup, they've got Man United. I'm pretty sure Leicester's gunning for some silverware this year as well. So they're going to concentrate on that. Then they've got Manchester City in the league, then West Ham and West Brom. I mean, it looks pretty heavy for me, their upcoming fixtures. And no Harvey Barnes, no Maddison as yet. I'm not sure how long that's going to be until they're all back. Harry, your thoughts about Leicester? Can they secure top four this season?
First of all, Leicester are one of my favourite teams to watch in the league. I think they're absolutely outstanding, the way they play and the way Brendan Rodgers functions them. I think they've been just as unlucky as Liverpool have with injuries. At the start of the season, they didn't have Soyuncu, they didn't have Ricardo, they didn't have Ndidi, who were three of their best players last season. And they somehow managed to stay in the top four throughout the season. And now they've hit the injuries at the worst time, really, with Barnes, who probably would have gone to the Euros, now won't get the chance. Maddison has also hit good form. James Justin's a huge loss for them because now they're having to shift the whole system for him. And he would have definitely got to the Euros as well, in my opinion. Their squad is thinning as we speak because of the injuries, and they're having to rely on people like Iheanacho and replacement attackers. Even Hamza Chowdhury's getting minutes now.
I must say, Iheanacho is doing good though. Like he's stepped up.
He's done well. He's done well, to be fair to them. There's a lot of pressure on him this season because Brendan Rodgers is known to be a bit of a bottler, if you like, and the way they kind of disappointingly went out of the Europa League could be good for them because they were expected to be Slavia Prague, but they obviously got knocked out at home, and I think they deserve to be the top four, based on how well they've played. But will they get there is a totally different question because if you look at the games they have, West Ham's a huge game. They got United in the FA Cup, which is obviously it's not a huge game in terms of league, but they might put a lot of energy towards that. And Man City, they do have a good record against Man City, to be fair. I think they beat them 5-2 at the start of the season. It's a crazy game. But with an injury hit Leicester against Man City, I'm not too sure if they can cause damage there. So there are a few banana skins in there as well with Sheffield United. They are tough games for Leicester. I really want them to finish top four if Liverpool don't, which is very likely. But I just don't think they will with Chelsea and West Ham's resurgence and Everton looking good now. So I think they'll just edge out of it. Yeah,
look, you know what? Just like yourself, I do like Leicester as well. I've got a soft spot for them. Do like Brendan Rodgers a lot as well, the way they play. And the kind of budget that they have and the caliber of players they have, he's done amazingly well over there at Leicester. It's just sad, they just don't seem to have the squad depth, especially during this time when they lose a few players. It just becomes a bit difficult. But for some reason, they've still been able to hang on. You look at the table, 28 points, 28 matches, 53 points. I mean, they're still there and thereabouts and just hanging on there. Kishan, let's go to you, my man. I mean, how important? I spoke to Tom, a Leicester fan, not that long ago, and RJ was there as well. They really were going for the Europa League. They were really pushing for it because that was another way to get into the Champions League. They thought they had the team for it. But how much of a blessing in disguise is it that they're out of it and they can just concentrate on the Premier League, knowing all of these key injuries that they have with Justin and Harvey Barnes and Maddison? I mean, do you feel that one game per week, obviously they've got the FA Cup coming up. I'm pretty sure they're going to try their best on that. But generally 1 or 2 games per week, I mean, do you think that kind of works for them to really manage their situation right now?
Yeah, I think it might be a blessing in disguise. But I was very surprised that they went out at such an early stage because I thought they could have been one of the favourites for it. Maybe not with their know-how of the Europa League. But I still think, like, with the players they had, they could have gone quite deep into that competition. So I was surprised to see them out, but now they can look at it as a positive, because with the injuries they've got, it will definitely help them. But I do think Barnes and Maddison being out is a bit too much when you look at how they've been playing throughout the season, because Barnes is amazing. Like Harry said, he probably would have made the England squad at the end, but I think now that's gone out of the question. And then James Justin is another one who probably would have made the England squad or been around there, and that's another one down. So I think even though they've had injuries previously, this time it does seem a bit too much. And until like the last game week, I was quite sure that Liverpool would actually get top four and they'd actually pull Leicester out of it. I'm not too sure about Liverpool doing that now, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone else did still, because you look at Tottenham and they're not too far off us. So I still think that someone can pull Leicester out of it with the fixtures that they have very soon.
No, absolutely. Kishan, just quickly to the live chat, here's a little secret about Kishan. Kishan is a Chelsea fan, but he lives in Leicester. I just want to know from Kishan, what's the mood in Leicester? How people in Leicester sort of, looking at this situation? I mean, I'm pretty sure when you go out, you probably get to hear a little bit from fans here and there in the streets. I mean, what's the mood in Leicester at the moment?
I mean, we're in a lockdown, so I don't know at all. Never do get to see anyone. But I think generally when you see Leicester fans online, there was a lot of optimism before. But I think with these injuries, even they started to manage their expectations. But I still think they're all clinging to the fact that they can hold on and get into that top four. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the end it's just a bit too much for them.
No, fair enough. RJ, let's go through the quick rounds. Quick yes or no answer. Leicester City, are they going to be in the top four, yes or no?
As much as I'd love to see them, I think they'll just miss out given the injury toll.
Ooh, that hurts. But yeah,
I know.
Kishan, my boy, Leicester, they're going to make top four or not?
No.
Oof. Harry, are they going to make top four or not?
Unfortunately, I don't think so either.
Oh man, the panel is ruthless today about Leicester. Anyone watching from Leicester fan today in this stream, do apologize. No one's really backing you guys. But look, as everyone pretty much said here, I think we can all say they're a team that we admire. We like watching. Got some really quality players, good manager. It'll just mean so sad for them not to make it again. And I'm pretty sure everyone's going to keep saying, Brendan Rodgers bottling it again. And it's just not fair. Honestly, it's not fair. They don't have the team. They don't have the depth. And it's very difficult. Saeed, I want to address this. I want to ask the question, what is your definition of consistency? I think this is, he sort of asked that when we were talking about the Man United one. I'll quickly answer this, Saeed. When I say consistency, and I get your point because you then replied back to a few other people that pretty much no one is consistent. That's true. This has been a strange season. That's why the top four race, there's so many teams in it. I think my definition of consistency is basically what Chelsea's doing right now. Regularly being able to get the big wins, not losing that many, not many disappointing results. I just feel like someone like Man United, they get a win, then they have a draw against someone they really should be winning against, then they lose against someone as well. It's just too much up and down. And for me, looking at their fixtures, as we said, they can be got. I feel like the rest of the Premier League can have them. But then again, I could be wrong. The guys over here said that, they're pretty much going to, Man United's pretty much going to make it. So, Kishan, I believe you wanted to say a few things.
One more thing about Leicester, their last three games are Chelsea, Manchester United, and Spurs, I think it is. As well. So, and two of those are away. One is away to us, and I think they're away to Manchester United as well. So I think that might be a bit too much at the end. Similar to the run they had last season, actually.
Man, that's difficult. If they still don't have Maddison and Harvey Barnes during that time, I'm pretty sure Justin won't be around. But if they don't have some of their creative players, I think they're going to be in big trouble. RJ, let's now talk about Chelsea. Here we go. 28 matches, 50 points. We are probably one of the most form teams in the Premier League right now. Under Thomas Tuchel, I believe 11 games, 8 victories, 3 draws, and we are winning some high-profile matches. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going out there winning some big matches, keeping clean sheets, only 2 conceded. I mean, and you know what the crazy part is? Everyone was sort of saying, if you look at the fixtures that we just went by, Atletico Madrid 1-0, Man United 0-0, Liverpool 1-0, Everton 2-0. We've not conceded against any of these 4 teams, which is unbelievable. Atletico Madrid, Man United, Liverpool, and Everton. We have not conceded, and that was the particular period everyone sort of doubted Thomas Tuchel. Is the honeymoon period going to be over? We're really going to get to see exactly what Tuchel's all about. But we've come out of this particular crazy fixture list with 3 wins and a draw. And then now, looking forward, we've got Leeds coming up, Atletico Madrid in that return leg, Sheffield United, West Brom, Crystal Palace, and Brighton. We've got Sheffield United in the FA Cup. I mean, RJ, you must be confident now, right? Look at it from a Chelsea point of view. You must be thinking, all right, we've gone through the storm. I mean, nothing is easy in the Premier League. You've said it. You're one of the biggest advocates for it. But this is looking good now.
Oh, yeah. And look, what a time to be a Blues fan, right? So, and as you know, I'm pretty sort of measured sort of person. I'm not someone that overly committal when it comes to how good or not good we're going to go and try to take it game by game. But I think it's safe to say, even for any sort of skeptic Chelsea fan, or even just someone watching as a neutral, we've had a sufficient sample size since Tuchel's come in, and not just the sample size, but the varied opposition, the style of opposition, and Tuchel and his revitalised Blues have now passed the test. I've, as part of our monthly sort of key pieces, key themes, one of the things that sort of stood out was we're obviously more defensively robust now with the 2 goals conceded. The issue that we've had traditionally during this stretch of games is that we've generally struggled to create genuine goal-scoring opportunities and had to rely on spot kicks and some random chances to get some goals. But in recent times, starting with, unfortunately, Harry, I think where we've sort of overcome our little arc, we've started playing a lot better football, and we saw remnants of that against Everton. So I think what we're going to see now is a team now that's finding a better balance between their defensive solidarity versus an attacking rhythm up front. Because before the Liverpool game, I thought, like what we saw against United, very defensive, strong, but we just couldn't quite strike that balance up top. But now after the Liverpool game, which I thought we probably could have scored a couple more goals, we're now starting to see a team that has better cohesion all round. And then looking at that run, Miz, as you said, it's hard not to be confident, but at the same time, you look at the ladder, and I know you keep showing it throughout the stream, it's one of those things where I'm just always mildly reserved and always have that bit of guardedness, if you want to call it that, to get overconfident, because the moment complacency risk slips in, it comes from 4th place to 8th place really quick. So I just think it's important for us to really stay measured and continue to do what we're doing, and touch wood that we don't get any injuries despite our good squad depth that I'm sure that you'll touch on.
We stay humble. That's what we need to do. We stay humble. But now, well said, RJ, about that. Kishan, there was a really good point here brought up by Joey. Let's bring this up. Chelsea squad depth is what's going to make us push forward with wins with the same quality regardless of personnel. Kishan, looking just quickly, let's just look at the fixtures again and then talk about this particular point here. As I said, Leeds, Atletico Madrid, we've got Sheffield United in FA Cup. We really should be pushing in the FA Cup. I believe we can win that particular silverware, and we should be pushing for that. West Brom, Crystal Palace, Brighton. You must be ecstatic about the squad depth that we have, and knowing the kind of match that Kai Havertz played yesterday against Everton in that false 9. I mean, that gives another rejuvenation in our team that we might have just found a different solution for the striker situation. How do you feel about, still Pulisic is yet to come good. Ziyech is still yet to come good. We've got our CB, Zuma, Andres Christensen, Thiago Silva, Aspilicueta, everyone firing. Reece James is doing a bit of a job in the right wing back position. Alonso is doing. He had a very good game against Everton. So, how do you feel looking at those fixtures moving forward? What's your feel about our team?
I feel very good, and you've got RJ saying we should keep it calmer. But I don't know. Looking at the fixtures, I feel very good. I think we're a given in the top four. Honestly, I think we should push for second even, because on form, I think we're one of the best teams in the league. I think probably just behind City in terms of current form. So yeah, I don't see any reason why we will drop out. And when you look at our next fixtures, we've got Leeds. And I think everyone makes out as though Leeds is like a massive sort of game. But the thing is, when I see big teams play against Leeds, you can see the amount of chances they get. When I watch United,
they're so naive. They're naive against big teams. They're very naive against big teams.
United could have honestly had 10, and I think they got 6 that day. They should have had 10, and then they let 4 in really quickly against Arsenal. So I think this is the kind of game you want to play like a Werner to try and fill his boots. And I think when you look at, you were saying that
the man might need at least 12 chances to score 2, though.
I mean, he should get 12 on the when you look at, like you said, Pulisic, Ziyech, and them guys not clicking, I'm expecting them not to click for the rest of the season. I think that's one thing that I expect. But even without anyone clicking completely, I think we have enough in what we have to get through it, like we have been doing recently. I think you can't really say anyone has been amazing. I know Mason Mount has been amazing, but in terms of goal contributions, we've not had anyone outstanding. That's clear. Like Jorginho being our top scorer in the league, that should never happen. But like you said, I think with the constant rotation, keeping everyone on their feet, they know that they have to kind of perform when they come in. And this Havertz thing yesterday was quite a big thing for me, because it wasn't against the old team as well. It was against Everton, a very good team, which I wasn't that sure we'd win before we went into it. I thought it might be a possible stumbling block. But with the team that we've got out and the next few fixtures we've got, if we manage our team well and go into that Atletico game, get a result, sky's the limit for us. Well, second place is, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Nah, I know exactly what you mean. Sky's the limit, but second place. No, absolutely, I understand what you mean, man. Look, as you said, Kai Havertz, that for me, I think the fan base was screaming for that. I was definitely screaming for that. A lot of people were screaming for him to play as a false 9. Yesterday, I just love the hunger he showed as well, the desire. He didn't look like someone who missed out on so many games in recent times. He was fit. He looked sharp. He was really good. RJ, you were going to say something, yeah?
Yeah, I was just going to say on that Havertz thing, I think it's probably not. I know from the Chelsea community, we make it a big deal because we see that as a bit of a statement game from Havertz. Because, like you said, there's been a lot of noise coming from the outside community that this was a big investment that hasn't paid off, and what a waste of money. That's what the noise was coming out. But those true Blues fans know that. Give him time. Look at the context. New league. He's had COVID. It's a big adjustment for him. When he comes good, everybody's going to be having some humble pie. And I bet at the moment there's been a lot of pie going around because that game yesterday, like you said, Kishan, it wasn't against a League 2 opposition in an FA Cup 4th round game. This is against a direct top 4 rival who had just won 3 games on the bounce and conceded 0 goals. So even that itself is an insight just how difficult Everton were as a unit to break down. But Havertz was running riot. Not bad for a guy that's been on the sidelines and hasn't had a chance to impose his style. So imagine when he starts finding his feet and getting his rhythm going, that's a bit of a watch this space for our opponents. So, yeah, I agree. That does give me a bit more confidence. So fingers crossed that he can actually continue firing, but the rest of our front men also pick up a bit of slack because I think from defence, goalkeeper, defence, midfield, we're finding a real nice balance and rhythm. It's just now getting the fine-tuning up top to start putting away some of those chances. And I think, like you said, sky's the limit, albeit maybe not treble just yet.
Absolutely, man. And the thing that really, really gets me going is how strong defensively we are. We're coming up against some teams They're going to sit back, but they possibly it could counter well. But defensively, we're looking very, very strong, and I hope that we go out there and put them away. I don't really care whether it's 1-0, 2-0, but we put them away. Kishan, you have a couple of things to say before I go to Harry, because I do want to hear from his side, from a Liverpool's point of view, how they're looking at this rise of Chelsea. But Kishan, you got a couple of things to say.
Yeah, in terms of Havertz yesterday, I think when players have been poor, people get carried away by saying, "Oh, he was good," but they see it as relatively good compared to how he was previously. Havertz yesterday was just very good on that level. Like it was almost looked at sometimes where you're like, will we miss Mason Mount that much against Atletico? We will, but he looked really good. And it'd be nice to see what Harry thinks if he saw the game yesterday. And one more thing is with our running, I know we've got a really hard last 4 games, but I think with the way we're playing, we shouldn't really fear Leicester at home, Arsenal at home. Man City away is always going to be hard, but we can definitely go there and get something as well.
Yeah, with Thomas Tuchel, honestly, Kishan, I'm not fearful of anyone. If we keep our structure, our defensive shape, our with the ball, off the ball, we're creating chances. We really are. We just don't seem to be putting them away as often enough, which I'm pretty sure one of these days will click, and we're going to put some team away 6-7-0. I kid you not. Honestly, someone's going to get battered very soon.
It's going to be Leeds.
It's going to be Leeds. It's going to be Leeds. Poor Leeds. We will talk about that Mason Mount point. It's a good point that you raised, Kishan, because I've got a different opinion to that. Harry, from your perspective, from a Liverpool perspective, obviously talk to us about, I know you guys are having a bit of a madness at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on there. But from a Liverpool point of view, you look at the team, you look at a team like Chelsea, with the new manager and how quickly we've turned things around. How are you looking at this? I mean, the whole talk was, us trying to cover that gap between Manchester City and Liverpool. I mean, to be honest, there's probably not much gap to be covered with you guys. You guys have just absolutely fell apart because of the injuries. Let's be honest. That's been the biggest sort of issue. But do you feel from someone looking aside that Chelsea are one of these teams that are going to be super, super strong next season?
Definitely. I think Tuchel, as a manager, he's one of the best in the world. And I have a lot of Chelsea friends, and I've said to them, okay, if you're going to get Tuchel, you're going to do really well under him because he's proven himself at Mainz, Dortmund, and PSG. Yes, he's not won too many trophies, but I don't think you have to win that many trophies to prove you're a good manager. As long as you're improving players, that shows you're a good coach. And we've seen it within about a couple of games at Chelsea. He's already revitalised the likes of Hudson-Odoi, who a lot of people from outside would say, okay, he's not as good as Saka, Foden. Maybe he still isn't, but at least he's getting minutes now, and he's found this new position for him to kind of flourish in, I guess. And I think Chelsea's squad as an overall is a bit underrated. Like even last season, people saying, okay, Lampard did well to get top 4 with all these youngsters, but actually Chelsea's youngsters are actually like some of the best youngsters in the league. Like, let's not get that wrong.
Harry, I said it last season. Honestly, even with the transfer ban, no Hazard, no proper strikers or anything, I said it, we're going to be top 4 because we still had Premier League winners in that team, Willian and Pedro. Like I just thought that, and Azpilicueta, like I just thought we had enough quality against the rest of the Premier League, which were average as well, besides Liverpool and Manchester City. I just thought we're good enough to get top 4. And as you said, our academy players, they're very good. Like they're not rubbish at all.
Yeah, I live pretty close to the Chelsea Academy, and I think that some of the talents that have come through there have been absolutely amazing. And even when maybe some transfers don't work out, in recent times you've seen people like Morata and Kepa come for big fees. They haven't really worked out. But Chelsea have went out and recruited new players to replace them. And now in Mendy, I think that's one big problem Lampard kind of helped Tuchel with before he left. He kind of got him Mendy and said, okay, Tuchel, even if you're going to have a calamity at the back, I've got you a good keeper here, so you don't have to leak lucky goals in against big teams and, have a scapegoat to blame for. But I think personally, the Chelsea was underrated last season. Maybe first team wise, it's still not as good as Liverpool's strongest team and City's strongest team. But as a squad, I think you've got a stronger squad than Liverpool. Definitely got a stronger squad than Liverpool if you look at what's going on this season. And I would not be surprised if Chelsea reach at least the semi-finals of the Champions League. Originally, I thought you were going to lose to Atletico Madrid, but now that it looks like you're going through, if you get a lucky draw against Porto, maybe if they go through tonight,
Harry,
you would not know. You would not
loving you,
know.
man. You're going to come to the channel more, that's for sure.
I think Chelsea have got a very good chance in the Champions League because of the depth of the squad. And people might say, the likes of Christensen and Rudiger, they're not like elite level centre backs, but you don't need elite level centre backs to be your backup. Liverpool would die for Christensen to be in their squad if when Matip got injured. If Christensen was there, I am very certain Liverpool were getting at least top 4.
I just tweeted just a moment ago. I literally tweeted maybe an hour ago that Christensen right now with the form and the system that we're playing is the number 1 Premier League defender. I mean, can anyone argue?
I've seen him recently, especially against Liverpool. I thought he was outstanding, winning aerial battles against. Yeah, okay, our players aren't the tallest, but Firmino is very well known for winning headers, and Christensen dealt with him very well. He kind of pocketed Mane, I guess. Chelsea's press against Mane, I thought, was outstanding. As soon as Mane got the ball, Jorginho and I think it was Reece James who played, they both just snapped at him immediately, and they let him have no space.
Hey, just Jorginho. Live chat, please listen to that. Opposition teams talking about Jorginho pressing Mane. Please listen to this.
I thought it was absolutely outstanding, especially after the first game at Stamford Bridge, where Reece James was kind of at fault for the Mane header where he didn't come across. I thought it was a big improvement on that, and I think Chelsea's squad is very good, and I think top 4 is guaranteed for them now. But I mean, the future, can they go for the league? I'm not too sure. They still need some new players in key areas. If Giroud leaves or Giroud's a bit aging or whatever, they definitely need a new attacker. I know you spent a lot of money on attackers last window, but maybe some kind of obscure attacker that's just delivering goals in maybe a lower league. It doesn't have to be the league.
Haaland, bro. Haaland.
Haaland, yeah, everyone's linked with Haaland, but I mean, are Chelsea willing to pay another 60, 70 mil or more for Haaland?
Believe me,
very, very unlikely. But I think Chelsea can go for another attacker. And if you somehow get a brilliant attack, and especially if Timo Werner starts delivering next season, the numbers he did at Leipzig, then I think Chelsea got kind of an outside shot for the league, if you want. Like Liverpool City, I think will still be up there as favourites with United, but Chelsea have got a very good chance if they get a couple of new players in and strengthen the squad even more.
Harry, you know what? You're coming back again. Don't you worry in this channel. You've made my day. You've said some really, really good things. You've said the right things, and you've earned your place again here. Yusuf has said, what's the name of the new guest? His name is Harry. Please check the socials in the description right now. Go out there and follow him. He's a Liverpool fan, so it'll be good to get Liverpool inside as well. We're going to talk about Liverpool down the track. Tyrone has said, this guy is saying what I've said, 100%. Georgie is class. Boys, let's now talk about West Ham. I believe West Ham is the next one to talk about. 27 matches played, 48 points. They have a game in hand. Potentially, they could actually go in front of us, with that game in hand. Kishan, I'll go to you first up, my man, on this one. Then we'll go to Harry and get the rounds on RJ. Just quickly, we didn't talk about, I think it's quite anonymous. We all believe Chelsea top 4. Yeah? Just a quick yes from all of us.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice. Keep nodding. That's it. That's exactly what we want to see. It's 100% yes. Kishan, West Ham. This is their fixtures coming up. Good victory against Leeds United. I actually thought Leeds was going to do a bit of a madness over there. I mean, Bielsa's a very good coach. I rate him really highly. But once again, they fell into the trap of West Ham. West Ham got them early in the season as well. And once again, they've got him. As we've said, Leeds just a bit naive when it comes to, how to defend. But, one thing I do want to say about Leeds is they've got their attacking down, packed and down. Next season, if they get their defensive side of things, corrected, I'm pretty sure they're going to be a very, very difficult side to match up against. But Kishan, they've got Man United next in the Premier League. They've got Arsenal. They've got Wolves. They've got Leicester. They've got oh my days. I'm having a heart attack for them. Forget about West Ham having a heart attack. You saw those fixtures, Kishan. How's West Ham going to feel?
Time for the slump.
Down. Jay Sean, down.
I've expected it before, and it's not happened so far, so credit to them. But I do think when you look at that next 4, I can't see them getting that many points out of them. Even Wolves away, that's a really tough task. So, yeah, I think that will take care of itself. And if they do get points, then they're taking points off Manchester United and I think Leicester they've got as well. So that would be good for us. I think if you scroll down slightly lower, they've got another hard one after. Yeah, us. Yeah. Yeah, so
I mean, it's
when you
crazy.
look at 5-6, I don't think they'll get many points from that.
Yeah, I mean, Kishan, West Ham, Man United, as you've mentioned so rightly throughout this particular show, that's another one where anything is good for us, to be honest. If Man United loses, we're going for number 2. If they win, well, West Ham's gone out of the window. But, some of these back-to-back Man United, Arsenal, Wolves are not going to be easy, that's for sure. At home, Wolves. Leicester City are vying for top 4 as well. Newcastle, and then straight after Newcastle is us. So, yeah, Kishan, you think it's coming to an end, yeah, for West Ham?
I think so. And then even Newcastle, I think by then they'll be fighting for their lives. So that won't be a tough game. I mean, that will be a tough game at St. James's Park. So I can't see them keeping up their good form. Yeah,
RJ, your thoughts about West Ham?
For me, I actually am very impressed with the Hammers. And at this stage, if the season was ended here, I'd say David Moyes is within a genuine shout of manager of the season, just based on expectations of where West Ham were expected to finish and where they are right now. So credit to them. They continue to turn up despite all the doubters in the background, not even really taking notice of them. Do I think that their good luck or good form's coming to a grinding halt? I'm not so sure, to be honest with you, because I take what you say, Kishan, fully agree the logic there. However, I can't say as well that the teams in and around them have necessarily easier fixtures as well, and some of them actually verse each other directly. So who's to say that West Ham can't pick up a result here or there versus those direct rivals, and therefore actually take advantage of the situation and continue to cement their spot in the top 4?
Just on that, who do you think out of these fixtures that they could possibly do the number?
To be honest with you, I think they could get a result against United. I don't think that's out of this realm because, like you said earlier, they've been playing consistently good and have got a good defence. But West Ham's defence isn't too bad either. And also, Arsenal's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team. And despite Wolves knowing that they can play pretty good football on their day, they haven't exactly set the world alight. And if Leicester City continue to have their injury woes, why can't West Ham at home beat the Foxes there? So, to be honest, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And if they can maintain their health across the squad and continue with their good form, I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion that they're dropping out anytime soon. I don't think necessarily they're going to go all the way to the end of the season in top 4, but not in the next block of games itself as being a defining sort of period for them. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I think, look, even if they make it to top 6, they'll be very happy because that means Europe for them. And that would mean, somewhat getting the expectation 100%. I think that would meet their expectation. And their squad is, their team is probably one of the best. I've heard some West Ham fans say that that's probably one of the best West Ham teams they've seen in ages. So, whatever happens for them, they're having a very good season. If they can manage to be in the top 6, I think that's fantastic for them. Get Europa. I think top 4 will be very difficult. Let's do a quick round in this panel. Harry, West Ham, top 4, yes, no?
I'm going to say just no, but I think Europa League is a good position for them anyway, so I think they'll accept that as fans.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Kishan, West Ham, top 4, yes, no?
No.
RJ, top 4, yes, no?
No, just outside, just out.
No, fair enough. Let's now go to Taryn. Sorry, not Taryn. I keep thinking Taryn. It's Harry because, they're mates and that's why I get them all mixed up. Let's look at this particular table. We've got Everton next up. So let's just have a quick look. So 27. So they're in the same sort of situation. 1 game in hand, 46 points though. So that game in hand is actually not going to do them any favors. They'll still be a point behind if they do win. But Everton's another one of those teams. I feel like they've got a strong team. They've been neutralized so massively by us yesterday. I'm so happy the way we played, even though it wasn't our best game, to be honest. I thought we were few gears away from it being our best game. Yet they had absolutely no sniff at our goals, one bit, and we neutralised them. So it's interesting to see what Everton does. But yeah, 46 points, 27 games. They've got a game in hand. This is what their fixture list looks like at the moment. They've got Burnley next in the Premier League. They've got City in the FA Cup. Then they've got Palace, Brighton, Spurs in the Premier League, and Arsenal. So they've got 3 fairly reasonable fixtures coming up: Palace, Burnley, and Brighton. And then in between, they've got the FA Cup. We spoke to an Everton fan, Harry, just a few days ago, Everton Rose, and she said that they're definitely going for that FA Cup because that's one of the things they expect under Ancelotti. They want some silverware. They've been dying for some silverware. Harry, what's looking at that fixtures quickly again? Everton, what's your feel with these fixtures that are coming up for Everton?
I think they could grab quite a few points from these fixtures. I think their squad is a very good squad. Ancelotti is probably one of the best managers in the league, and the way they've played this season, I think they deserve kind of top 4. The way they've been resolute against the big sides, they've picked up wins against Tottenham, Liverpool, and even Chelsea. I think they beat at the Goodison Park, and they've provided a real solidarity to the blue side of Liverpool, if you like. And I'm not a Liverpool fan who hates Everton or anything. I just think they're a good club. I think the signing of James Rodriguez has been huge for them in terms of lacking that kind of cutting edge. And he's even made the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson and Bernard a little bit better with his kind of experience next to them. Calvert-Lewin's had an outstanding season, and he's kind of got a little kind of drought kind of thing where he's not scoring as much as he was at the start. But I think Everton have got a real good chance at top 4. The way they're defending, I mean, they conceded 2. I think it was 2 last night. But their defense is still very strong, and the way the whole team functions under Ancelotti and their rigid 4-4-2, if you like, I think they've got a good chance of beating the next 3 teams they have, which are Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Brighton. Even though Brighton will be a tough game because they play attacking football. I think the game against Arsenal and Tottenham will be very decisive in their top 4 race, because Arsenal could easily, on their day, they're pretty good, and so are Tottenham. But I think they'll just get to top 4 at the end of the season, which is a big statement. Because I've never said that. And last 5 years, I've never think Everton in the top 4 is kind of crazy. But this year, they've got a real good chance.
First of all, Miz will now start his Dominic Calvert-Lewin prop. 100% I will, man. I love that man. Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's amazing, but he's got a little bit of a drought recently, which is... He has,
but man, he's phenomenal. His rise has been phenomenal. Just quickly, Harry, from a Liverpool fan's point of view, I mean, how much does that sort of annoy you that, oh my God, Everton are going to be in the top 4 and perhaps Liverpool are not going to be? I still don't think. I mean, if we say that Man City's there, Leicester and Man United are more or less there, and we are there. That's top 4 covered. I don't think Everton has a chancey. But if they do, for any instance, they somehow leapfrog and try and get Leicester's position or Man United's position. I mean, is that a little bit bothersome to see from a Liverpool point of view that, and I can't believe these guys are going to be in top 4 when Merseyside's generally been red. Yeah.
I think the City of Merseyside will be very upset if Everton, or not the red side, basically will get very upset if Everton gets top 4 and Liverpool don't, which is looking very likely at this stage. Mainly because Liverpool, obviously, we just won the Champions League, we just won the Premier League. Why are we finishing 9th or wherever we're going to finish? And Everton, who finished 12th or 13th last season, they suddenly rejuvenated themselves to finish 4th or 3rd or wherever they might finish. But it could be a good thing if Liverpool finish that low and Everton suddenly go high. It could be like some kind of message from the fans to say, okay, we're not happy with the FSG. Can you add some more money to Klopp, who's been, because a lot of Liverpool fans are saying that he's been kind of undervalued and that he's not getting enough money, which I think is a bit of a joke, because I think Klopp has he's had enough money to spend, and what he's done with the money is just incredible. And I think Everton's top 4, if they do finish top 4, it could be kind of a little blessing for Liverpool, especially if they kind of do riots, as passionate Liverpool fans are. But I think Everton fans do deserve a bit of some kind of glory. They've had so many years where after the Moyes era, it's been so kind of dead for them, you know. And I forgot who the coach was, the Dutch guy, Koeman. Yeah, Silva. I thought they were a good side under Silva. They came to Anfield and they played well against when they were Silva. But I think Everton, as a team, their squad is nowhere near as good as the teams above them. Even Leicester and even West Ham. Some people would say West Ham have a better squad than Everton. But I think they kind of deserve a bit of glory. Maybe if it's FA Cup win or it's going, maybe even getting to the Europa League is a big thing for them. But I think that there's still a successful season for them if they finish top 4 or don't. And I think Liverpool fans should be upset that Everton are finishing above them, as an answer to your question.
Yeah. As I said, you know, when we spoke to the Everton fan, Everton Rose, she did mention that top 4 wasn't really the expectation when the season started. You know, top 6 might have been because obviously where they finished last season, and you know, it takes a bit of time to sort of push up. You know, going as far as possible in the FA Cup is probably one of their ambitions as well. So yeah, as you said, even if they don't make the top 4, perhaps they still be happy if they're there and thereabouts. That just means that maybe a few more inclusions in their team, some good signings next season, they're going to be a bit better. Just let's do some quick rounds. Kishan, what's your thoughts? Yes, no, Everton top 4?
No.
RJ?
No, I don't think so. Just, again, very tight race. Just think they won't have enough legs.
Yeah, me too. I don't think they'll make it. And Harry, your final shot. I know you want them to make it, but probably no.
Probably not, no, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. Kishan, let's now talk about the bad boys Spurs. 27 matches again. Another game in hand, 45. If they win, they go to 48. So they're still going to be behind us in terms of top 4. But they're a little bit rejuvenated in recent times, I feel, you know, with the likes of Gareth Bale coming into form. Harry Kane is banging in those big goals. Son has always been there and thereabouts. Lucas Moura just playing behind them. They look like, you know, they've got that attacking ability. There's no doubt about that. You know, when you've got Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, and Son up front, I mean, you should be, you know, smoking teams. And then they're still in the Europa League. Their fixtures. They've got Dynamo Zagreb coming up. They've got Arsenal, which is a North London derby this weekend. They've got Aston Villa, Newcastle, Man United. So their fixtures are very tough in the Premier League. They've got Arsenal, Villa, Man United, Newcastle. They you know, shouldn't be taken lightly. Everton, Man City in the they've got Man City in the League Cup. We shouldn't forget. Kishan, these guys, looking at their fixtures, how do you feel? You feel they're on the up? They could probably start putting away some of these teams?
I think they've got a shout for a spot, definitely. And they've clicked at the right time. It feels like Mourinho has finally taken the handbrake off and he lets the front 4 do whatever they want. I think that will help them massively. I think they could win the Europa as well. So that might be the route for them back into the Champions League anyway. But in terms of league, they have clicked at the right time. You see like their next 3 or 4 fixtures are quite tough. So maybe towards the end, they might have a favourable running. I know they've got Leicester towards the end. So that's another one of those kind of games for us. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, actually, apart from Leicester.
That's the last game of the season.
They've got Villa twice, and their game in hand is actually against Villa. So that's not a foregone conclusion. They might drop points there. But when I look at them compared to a team like West Ham or Everton, I still think they have a better chance of getting top 4, especially with the firepower that they've got. Kane, Son, and Bale have been something else for like the last 3 games.
Yeah, man, especially Gareth Bale. He's starting to move, drift into the box, you know, sharking into the box. He's looking really good, especially that game against Crystal Palace. He was really good. And the game before that as well, they were very, very good, albeit Fulham was very good as well. RJ, just quickly from your side, Spurs looking really good in recent times, especially as I was saying to Kishan, Harry Kane, he's a playmaker as well. Like from deep, he drops deep, starts becoming a playmaker, you know, gets into the game, gets Gareth Bale into the game, Son into the game. The thing I really like about Spurs is they're a team that really attack the box. like you have Kane, Son, and Gareth Bale always in the box, ready to pounce. And that's very, very good because you barely see other teams. Like you see someone like us, it's generally either Werner or when Alonso plays, Alonso's in the box. Like we don't have enough bodies in the box, but they generally do in recent times. How do you feel about their prospect leading up to the final, few matches in the Premier League?
Yeah, so the thing I like about Tottenham is nothing. No, just kidding. That's banter aside. But I have to agree with, Kishan. It's just that whole analogy of taking the foot off the brake because we know that they've had the talent there. We know that, and we've always been puzzled, especially when we beat them earlier in February, and we should have really won by more goals. But what was the most insightful thing out of that game was just how timid they were, and they just didn't even lay any punches at all. And I think we probably versed them at the right time where Mourinho just basically said, oh, well, we need to start picking up points, so let's go to plan B now and start attacking because this pragmatic approach hasn't been as fruitful as what it once was, perhaps. But I do think what gives me a little bit of comfort is that, and I agree with Kishan, the Europa League route, and we know Mourinho's all about the trophies, is something that will definitely be a priority. Whereas I think he'll look at the Premier League and say, well, that's fine. Let's continue to fire because we're doing really good. But at the same time, we know that we're caught up in a very big race for only very few spots. So rather than commit there, let's commit for something where we know at least we can show a trophy, which is a European one, so that it makes him look better. But at the same time, I think he'll look at that top four and think, it's possible, but let's not put all our eggs in that basket because a trophy looks a lot better in the cabinet than finishing fourth, let's say.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And they're in the League Cup as well. Let's not forget they've got Man City over there, so they're going to focus a lot to win a silverware there. It'll mean the world to the club and obviously to Mourinho. And as you said, Europa League. If they get that's another tick for Mourinho once again. And someone like Harry Kane, who's probably pondering, whether he wants to stay on or not, what the future is. If they collect some of these silverwares, maybe he starts believing that there may be a future in Spurs. So
definitely.
Yeah, so like it's not just about the one-way traffic to top four in the Premier League. Just quickly, let's do the rounds before we talk about Liverpool with Harry, which I'm so keen to talk about. Harry, top four for Spurs. We can go two ways. Do you think Europa League top four by winning it, or do you think top four through the Premier League? Yes or no?
I think through the Europa League. I think they won the Europa League.
They've got the squad to do that. Yeah.
Good shot Europa League. Yeah.
Kishan, your thoughts?
I think they'll get top four in the Premier League.
Ooh, wow. Who they dislodging? Leicester, Man United, one of those?
Yeah, Leicester. Man,
that's that's going to be heartbreaking for Leicester once again. You're very harsh with your people at Leicester, man. I hope they're not watching this and they come after you. RJ, just quick yes or no for Tottenham top four through Premier League or through the Europa?
Despite what I said, I actually think they're a dark horse for top four. But even more of a worse scenario is that they actually win Europa as well. But I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about them. They're playing really good.
Their front three is firing. I can't lie, and that is scary. The way that they're going. I think the North London derby is going to be a big sort of test. You want to see exactly what they do against Arsenal. If they put away Arsenal, I think their tails are going to be high. Harry, you see your team right here?
Yeah.
28 games, 43 points. Look at their last 5 games, and I think they've lost 6 in a row in Anfield.
Yeah.
I mean, before we even talk about the top 4 and whatnot, they're so far away from top 4 at the moment. They're 7 points away, actually. So, we've got similar games, 7 points. I don't know. I feel like it's finished for them. It's very difficult for them. But before we even look at the fixtures, I just want to ask you, my man, what is going on? I mean, surely, I get it, a lot of injuries. Pickford did a bit of a madness on Van Dijk earlier this season. I mean, we can never forget that. But a top coach knows how to get the best out of the squad. I mean, they shouldn't just be relying on one player. I know it's not just one; they've had many other injuries as well. But the capitulation this season for a defending champion has, I mean, we capitulated under Mourinho and also Conte when we won the league, but this is off a different level. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think capitulation may be the wrong word to use, because I think if we look at December, we were actually first and everyone was like, okay, Liverpool got a good shot at the league, especially after the 7-0 win against Palace, when everyone thought, oh, wow, look at this Liverpool team. They lost 7-2. Now they're winning 7-0. They're crazy. I think the injuries have just come at wrong times in Liverpool. I think, honestly, I've said this to a lot of people, if Matip doesn't get injured, which is very unlikely because he's injury prone, but if Matip doesn't get injured, I think we would have still had a good shot at the league, because he got injured in December-ish, when him and Fabinho were starting a lot of games in a row, and them two were looking good. Because Matip and Fabinho were forming a partnership, that meant Henderson could play midfield. And in my opinion, this is a very bold opinion, I think Henderson is more important to be in the midfield than Van Dijk is a centre-back. I think we could still win the league if Henderson's in midfield, but because he had to come to centre-back...
I think Henderson's very underrated. I think he's very underrated midfielder.
And I think I've got a few fixtures here that where Henderson hasn't played in the midfield for Liverpool. We lost 3-0 to Watford last season. We lost 7-2 to Villa this season. We drew 1-1 to Burnley away, at home, which was like the game that stopped our 100% win record last season. And last season we lost 2-1 to Arsenal away as well. All those games, Henderson didn't start midfield. We had either Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, some kind of mix of those. I think Henderson is absolutely huge to our midfield because he helps the front line a lot. And most importantly, he covers for our best creator, which is Trent. Whenever Trent goes forward, he covers for him like mad. And whenever he goes forward, he actually helps him a lot. He comes inside and says, okay, go on, Trent. And he's very vocal, which is huge for the team. Now that we don't have Henderson, Van Dijk, and even Milner in some cases, we have no leaders on the pitch at all. Our best leader now is Wijnaldum, who... I mean, I think he might be captain of the Netherlands when Van Dijk's not around, but he's not really a leader. And yeah, we've won a couple of games under Wijnaldum's captaincy, but I think Henderson's loss is absolutely huge for us. And the capitulation recently, post 2021, has been absolute joke, to be honest. It feels like Mane's forgot how to play football.
Oh, man.
I feel so bad for Mane, to be honest.
He's declined massively.
Like, at the start of the season, he started well. He scored, I think, 2 against Chelsea. He scored against Arsenal. And it was looking good for Mane. Then I think it was against Aurier at home, where Aurier and him had a really good battle the whole game. Mane got through him once, should have scored, missed it, but Aurier kept him relatively quiet. Ever since that game, I've seen teams have come to Anfield and they've doubled up on Mane and Robertson. And Mane and Robertson have not been able to do a single thing since Mourinho came here. So even though we won that game, it was kind of like a loss for us, because it resulted in this thing where teams figured out, okay, if we stop these two, because Mane and Robertson were our best 2 players at the start of the season. Yeah. You stop Liverpool. Ever since that moment, Robertson, I don't think he's got a single assist, and Mane hasn't.
We controlled Mane and Robertson so nicely. Yeah. We controlled.
I thought Robertson was very kind of sus against Chelsea because he wasn't allowed to do anything. Every time he went forward, there was always a runner of the Mason Mount or Werner running behind him, and he was a bit scared to go forward. And essentially, he was playing as the third centre back, and like he was always on the halfway line, a bit tentative to go forward and leave his space behind. But I think really the capitulation has been kind of sad, to be honest, for Liverpool fans, because we did not expect our team to lose every week. Like even tomorrow, we're playing against Leipzig. I'm not confident. I think we'll get at best a draw. If we get a 1-1 draw, happy days.
You're lucky that you guys got that 2-0 victory in the away league. Yeah. So,
and even those 2 goals came from mistakes from Upamecano and Konate, I think it was, or Mukiele. It was nothing we created ourselves. Our attack has been very kind of underperforming recently. The midfield obviously hasn't functioned with the attack properly because of the changes. But I think Leipzig's going to be a very tough test tomorrow. And even if we beat them, we're probably going to get a tough team like PSG or even Chelsea. I think Liverpool-Chelsea would be a cracking quarterfinal for teams to watch, because in a two-leg game, I think Liverpool would do all right in a 2-leg game. But if it was just 1-legged in like Bucharest or somewhere, and UEFA decide, okay, let's just do 1 leg, I think Chelsea would beat us comfortably. And yeah, I can't wait for especially Van Dijk and Gomez to come back. I think next season we desperately need them. there's been a lot of talk about transfers coming in for next season with Liverpool and FSG. I think today released a statement saying they're going to back Klopp and give him the funds needed to strengthen the squad even further. But there's a lot of talk with Salah leaving, Wijnaldum leaving, the likes of Firmino being forced out of the club. I don't really agree with Firmino. I think he's still a quality player. I mean, he absolutely sold a hot dog to Kante against Chelsea. That's probably the best moment of the game for us Liverpool fans. So he still got it. I think Salah probably will leave in the summer. I'm starting to accept that. But it's all about recruitment. Our recruitment's been absolutely amazing over the last 5 years. And this summer's huge for our recruitment. We have to get a right type of player, some leaders in the squad, because we can't just rely on Henderson and Van Dijk all the time. And hopefully next season we'll be back to the top. I
will come back to the recruitment because I don't think you guys recruited well in the January market. But we'll come back to that. Kishan, looking at their schedule, and we'll go back to Harry with this soon, but do you feel like, Kishan, it's over for Liverpool? I don't think top four is... I mean, they've got Leipzig, probably go through. Wolves, Arsenal, Villa, Leeds. Leeds might do a job. Leeds actually like playing against teams like Liverpool who play a high line as well. So, as you remember, the very first game in the Premier League, Leeds and Liverpool, Leeds actually pushed Liverpool to the brinks. Aston Villa has touched them up. Arsenal can always do a job. Kishan, do you think it's over for Liverpool in terms of top four?
I remember after our game on Thursday seeing Liverpool's fixtures and thinking, okay, they've got easier fixtures now. And then they played against Fulham at home and they lost. So with them right now, it doesn't even seem to matter who they're playing. They just seem to lose. So you still expect that run to come to an end very soon because they are still a good team. But I think they've got a bit too much to do. If I'm consistent with my view, and I think Leicester will drop out, they are 10 points behind Leicester right now. I think that's a bit too much. Even if Leicester drop 10 points, you can't really say Liverpool will go on and get every single point that they're going to play for. So I think it's gone for them now.
No, you're right. They are 10 points behind Leicester. Yeah, for me, it's just too difficult. Like, Liverpool have got themselves in such a mess. It's so difficult to see them being in the top four. The only other way is they've got to win the Champions League, which, as Harry said, they're going to come against some really, really big teams. And if they don't have some of their key players ready, they're probably going to get out of it. Maybe it's a time where, they maybe just need that time to be away from Europe. They can rebuild again. But I just never saw this coming. RJ, did you see this happening? I mean, I feel like this is quite crazy the way Liverpool has. I really thought that they were going to create a legacy under Jurgen Klopp, that they're going to go out there, win the leagues, win more Champions League. It's crazy how Mane, Salah, as Harry was saying, Salah wasn't happy when he got substituted against us. He was very, very disappointed looking at Klopp. There could be a good shout that Salah could be gone. So what's your thoughts about the whole Liverpool situation, man? I mean, do you feel like, and talk to Harry about this, do you think it's madness how certain fans in Liverpool are actually calling for Klopp to be sacked?
It's a ruthless business, isn't it? First and foremost, it's a commercial reality. These elite clubs or these global clubs are in the business of winning. They've got a big fan base, especially Liverpool, to satisfy. So that talk there doesn't surprise me. And we'd be a little bit hypocritical if we claim to be a club that doesn't put pressure on its manager if they don't win every single game. So not going to be too judgmental on our friends over at Anfield. But yeah, look, for me, I think their ascension over the last few seasons and the transformation, not just on the field, but as a well-run club, they've really set the benchmark in the terms of how a club can once be great, but with the right foundation blocks in place, they can actually start to rise again. And I think what they've done over the past few seasons has been nothing short of phenomenal. But I was surprised to see the cliff. So we've seen this rise and all of a sudden a big drop. And I think that's what surprised me the most is that I did expect their continued sort of domination across Europe. You can't foreshadow the amount of injuries and stuff that they've had, but then there's question marks about their squad depth and the right sort of investments made, etc. And sometimes it's just good old bad luck, and that can happen. But I think just overall, and we've spoken about this before, with Liverpool, I think they're a team that's sort of a very high octane, a lot of energy, and they really thrive off the fumes of back-to-back wins and keep generating that positive momentum. So when they're confronted with a very difficult period, some of that extra energy, some of that extra pizzazz and impetus in attack, it must surely, from a psychological point of view, become difficult for the players to continue to maintain the rage when things aren't going your way. And you couple that with, like you said, Miz, not so sensational investments in January to help bolster the squad. I think it just becomes a point of, there's Liverpool now, and I think, Harry, you put this very well. Is this a blessing in disguise in terms of like a gap year and just press the reset button and then go look to the transfer market to refresh? Because I think my personal opinion with any good team is that even if you have a really good season or a couple of good seasons, it's really hard to maintain that high level consistency and avoid that complacency. So I think it might actually be a natural conclusion where Mo Salah, but is this just a nice time to start parting ways and bring in some new fresh blood to inject some life into the squad that's of equal talent? So I don't think it's all doom and gloom just yet, but I don't think that they're going to end this season on too much of a high.
No, absolutely. Harry, I've got two questions to ask you before we wrap things up over here. I know there's Champions League games happening this morning, so everyone wants to watch that. Jurgen Klopp, I mean, surely he's got enough credit in the bank to demand that he needs time. I mean, you guys have seen, won the Champions League with you guys, won the Premier League after so many years. The brand of football that you guys have been playing, has been fantastic. Surely the greater fan base in Liverpool do still want to back Jurgen Klopp. However, I do want to say there's been some words that's been going around that Jurgen Klopp hasn't been in a particular club where he's been part of rebuilding teams. So, he comes in, he does a job, and then he sort of goes away. You look at someone like Alex Ferguson, where he's rebuilt that Man United team over so many span of years, maybe 3-4 times, different sort of teams, and kept on winning and winning. Do you feel like Jurgen Klopp, he has that desire, that hunger to as RJ and Kishan has said, maybe scrap everything, start buying some new players, rebuild that squad again and keep winning again? Or do you feel like, I've done my job, give it to the next person. German national side seems to be open for management. I'll go and take that. How do you sort of look at that from that point of view?
First of all, I think people who think Klopp should be sacked are kind of stupid in Liverpool, because I don't really understand that at all. I mean, as I said, we were first in December. It wasn't that long ago that everything was happy days for us. But in terms of rebuilding, I think what he did at Liverpool when he first came here was absolutely outstanding. And I think no Liverpool fan will forget the days of Benteke and Origi starting the line. And now we've got this amazing front three that everyone loves. And the way he's recruited smartly, along with, I think it's Michael Edwards, the sporting director, who's absolutely a genius, really, what he's done. In terms of rebuilding, is he going to start again? I think Salah, as I said, Salah will leave. So I don't think he'll suddenly go and...
Is it strong rumours that he's going to leave?
It's very strong rumours. I think Bayern Munich are interested, Real Madrid are interested. And I just think that Liverpool have generally been a selling club. Not like a selling club as in Dortmund or Ajax, but they're a club which signs a player who's like mid-20s, doing all right at a good league. They bring him to Anfield, and then suddenly they get 4 or 5 really good seasons out of them, and then they sell them for a huge amount of money. If we look at Suarez, Coutinho, and it could be the same thing with Salah. But I feel like Salah, a few years ago, people were thinking, okay, Salah is probably the most likely to leave out the front three, because Firmino is really unselfish, even in the way he plays. Mane's, he was brought up in a tough community. People think that his personality is like kind of resemblance of how he plays. And I think a lot of outside football fans, they like Mane more than Salah for some reason. Because of the way
really?
he kind of like...
I thought Salah would probably be more liked.
Yeah, I think Salah is a better player, but I think Mane is a bit more well-liked because of the way he doesn't dive and stuff like that. But I think Salah is most likely to leave this summer. And if he does, recruitment and how Klopp can rebuild without starting again, if that makes sense. So just keep the core of the team still there. Because next season, we will have the likes of Van Dijk, Gomez, Henderson there to start the season. But it's all about bringing in new attackers who are fresh and not just... obviously, there's huge talks about Project Mbappe and Project Haaland or whatever. But personally...
What is this? Project Mbappe? What?
Yeah, Project Mbappe. Ever since the Nike
Tell me
deal.
more about this.
Have you not heard it? It's a Nike deal. Ever since
Liverpool
Nike.
is going for Mbappe.
No, we were. I don't know if it's going to happen anymore. Like a lot of fans wanted the Mbappe thing to go through because of I think when Nike took over from Liverpool this start of this season, Nike's also sponsoring Mbappe, and people were like, okay, this is a big thing. If we want to get Mbappe, we have to sell Salah. It was that kind of situation. Is that going to happen this season? Probably not, because Mbappe's just demolished Barcelona in the first leg, and he's at a real high in his career. PSG aren't the best team in the world, but will he want to really come to Liverpool, who are not going to guarantee him UCL football next season? Even Haaland, who really needs UCL football because that's where he's best. I think he's very destined to go to Man City. I'm sorry for you guys because you're linked to him. I think he's pretty.
I think he's probably I think he might favour Man City, but let's see.
So really, it's not about going for that kind of level of attacker, but more up and coming attackers who are doing well in the leagues. For example, me and my friends talked about this a lot. Marcus Thuram from Gladbach is one I really like to see at Liverpool because I think we don't sign many Frenchmen, but in terms of a profile, he's tall, he's quick, he can finish. He's, in my opinion, the perfect replacement for Mane or Salah. We do have Jota coming through, who we have to not forget about, because Jota's been he's been probably one of our best players this season. Maybe not.
Jota's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and he seems like he's a bit different to what Salah and Mane offer. He's much better, like on the ball, and he's more direct. And his goal-to-game ratio is outstanding. And I think we're going to need him in the UCL, especially tomorrow, because Firmino's injured for tomorrow, so it's going to be a big game for Jota. And yeah, recruitment is going to be a big thing for Klopp this summer. And if he gets it right, who knows? We could be back to the top. But it's all about. I think Liverpool fans need patience for a little bit because this is a bad time. Every club endures bad times. We're not as ruthless as Chelsea are. We lose 3 games, bye-bye, you're out, next manager in. We do like to give.
You're going good, but all of a sudden now you're going 3 games.
I think the worst thing for Liverpool fans is the fact that Rangers have just won the Scottish League. So now everyone's like, okay, Gerrard must come in. He needs to prove that he's better than Lampard because he's a better player than him. It's all total nonsense. He needs to prove he's a better manager just because he's a better player. But I think Gerrard will eventually come to Liverpool, but definitely not this season. I think Klopp's got time. And personally, I want to see Nagelsmann after Klopp because I think Nagelsmann is the perfect heir for Klopp.
You know what? There's a lot of good conversations to have here, but we are running out of time. The whole thing about Steven Gerrard, I still believe it's too early for him to come to Liverpool. I think he just needs to continue on. Obviously he's won everything he's won it with Rangers. Maybe he needs to go to a different league now and win it with another particular team before he goes to Liverpool. Maybe even a Premier League team just before he takes Liverpool on. And the whole debate of Gerrard and Lampard, we will have it another day. But just to end things, Kishan, my man, just quickly, right now, currently, the top 4 that you think will finish up by the end of the season, in your opinion?
So City first, Chelsea second, United third, and I put Spurs fourth.
Oof. Wow. RJ?
I'd actually say the same, but I'd probably swap United with Chelsea for some odd reason. Don't ask why.
So United second, Chelsea third, Spurs fourth.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Harry, your top 4?
I'd go similar with RJ. City, United, Chelsea. But I think fourth is really going to be a battle of Spurs, Everton and West Ham. So I think any of those 3 teams can take a breath of it.
Fair enough. My opinion, obviously, City, forget about them. They're 1. I think, Kishan, you're right. Chelsea probably going to come second. We are. The Thomas Tuchel train is on high speed at the moment. There is no brakes. He's just gunning it at the moment. So, honestly, I can see us coming second. Third, I'm not really confident with either Man United or Leicester. So, I think both Spurs and Everton can actually come into the mix of top 4. So I'm going with City, Chelsea, Everton, Spurs. So I'm knocking Leicester and Man United out of there. I think that's going to be a top 4 lineup. But yet to see what's going to happen. As you guys all have mentioned, they've all got Europa League as well to contend with. So there's another route, the way they can go to Champions League. So it's going to be very interesting. Guys, it's been a fantastic show. To the live chat, There were close to about 50 people at one stage. Thank you so much for all the support. Go out there and watch your Champions League for tonight. And to my panelists, honestly, this has been a very, very good show. All of their socials are in the description right now. Go and follow them. Podcast from RJ. Harry, follow him in Twitter. Kishan is, as you can see, the man is an intellect. So go and follow him in Twitter as well. And we will have all of these people back again very, very soon to talk about many other things. Until next time, everyone. See ya.